How you guys doing today? It's Anthony Gangi, host of Tier Talk, and welcome to another episode of Tier Talk. Got a great question sent my way, and this is not that easy to answer. I'm hoping that I can provide some perspective, but I don't think I have an answer for this one. But this is good because it's something I never thought about before. And even as I go back and look at my videos, I don't know if my videos kind of stand in conflict on this topic, but basically, does open door policy conflict with chain of command? So, I mean, there are videos where we want management to know what's going on and they should be listening to our concerns. But then we do videos where, hey, can't circumvent that chain of command. Cannot circumvent that chain of command. So is there a conflict between open door policy for management, which is in a lot of books. A lot of books recommend open door policy, management, knowing their people, but then working in a paramilitary structure like ours and having that chain of command and not being able to circumvent. So is there a line? Is there a conflict? And I've been asking around all day and then also thinking on my own. And I got a perspective, but I'm going to need your help on this, guys. Please comment. Comment because I'm going to need your help. What I have is just a perspective, but I think it's thought out. That's the key. And also this leads to a very good discussion. So basically today's topic is chain of command versus open door policy. So again, guys, this show is for the frontline guys work behind the wall, frontline men and women, those brave men and women who work behind the wall in the shadows of criminal justice system. The show's for you. So guys, if you haven't, please subscribe, interact, engage, hit that bell. That bell is going to notify you every time I post a video. And when I come back from our sponsors, we're going to talk about chain of command versus open door policy. Stand by for our sponsors.
I wanted to attend a university that had an intelligence program. I wanted to look at problems different. I wanted to increase my critical thinking abilities. AMU offered those avenues to expand. Obtaining your degree as an adult, you're actually paying yourself and investing in yourself. You can't put a dollar on it, it's priceless. It's something that can never be taken away from you.
American Military University. Learn from the leader.
Being a corrections officer takes its toll on even the strongest individuals. The constant need to perform at the highest level, putting your life at risk in a hostile environment, and the mental scarring of traumatic experiences. 31% of corrections officers show symptoms of PTSD, and 66% of people with PTSD also suffer with a substance abuse problem. The Transformations First Responders program is specially designed to help veterans and officers heal from the grips of addiction and PTSD in a comfortable, supportive, and serene setting. You are not alone. If you have questions about the services we offer, give us a call at 866-762-8454 to get more information on this affordable and life-changing program.
Thank you guys for listening to my sponsors. Okay, so this question is not that easy to answer. I mean, it really is a hard question to answer. Does open door policy conflict with chain of command? And I'm reading one book right now. It's funny because I like to read a lot of books on management, leadership, supervision. And most of the books promote open door policy, but then in a later chapter they'll report, they'll also write chain of command. So if you go by the book, then there doesn't seem to be a conflict. But then when I posted it up on my social media site, there is. Because there are a lot, not everyone, but a lot of the people that responded on my social media page, on my Facebook page, believe that the open door policy undermines the chain of command. But then see, that bothers me too, because don't we always talk about that? Management's got to know their front line, and we talk about things like management by walking around and getting to know your employees, know who they are. So, because there's that conflict, and I'm not 100% good with, I always quote about chain of command, and I always say that we have to follow that chain of command. But I always also say that management's got to know their employees. They got to understand their concerns. So now am I talking on two different sides of the spectrum? And I'm thinking maybe not. Because if you look at things, and again, we're kind of figuring this out as we go, maybe it's about the level you're at. So basically, me as an officer, as a frontline person, if I have a problem that I want to bring up to a sergeant, that sergeant should be open to hearing that. So maybe it's about management at that immediate level above. So maybe when they're talking about open door policy and chain of command, something in our structure, sort of a paramilitary structure, we're talking about the immediate level of command, my immediate boss. So in that case here, officer has a concern, their manager or their supervisor, the one that's directly above them, should have an open door and hear what that concern is. Then if the front line together feels, okay, well, I don't feel that this person addressed our concerns, and they've exhausted that level, then maybe they should have the right to take it to the next level. And I still think it's okay for that second tier supervisor to go ahead and have that open door, as long as it doesn't, or it's not an attempt to undermine the chain of command. Like this had to happen because maybe they felt that at that other level it wasn't answered correctly, and there should be that option for that. And as long as the second tier sees that, okay, you went to that first level, you didn't like it, what's the concern? And then at that point, maybe that door should be open. And again, it all depends on the concern too, because sometimes people just don't like the answer, and then it doesn't automatically give them a reason to go to that next step. Sometimes you got to, that's it. That's the answer. Done with it. Don't bring it up again. But I think we're at this point now where we know what concerns need to be heard, and start holding people responsible for, hey, I told you, and we did this on my last episode, hey, I told you about these concerns, you chose nothing, so I wrote a report and put your name on it that I told you. And we talked about that. That's the document. And the reason why you're doing that is you're hoping that that person now, because their name involved, brings it up the next level. And I think that kind of forces the doors to be open, because now if you put my name on it, I'm going to the next person. And if they don't open the door, I'm going to put on paper, hey, I went to speak to you, and that may force them to open the door. So, you have doors being open regardless, and in some cases they may be forced. But I believe there's also outside of concerns. Like if you're higher level management and you're like 5 or 6 levels removed from the front line, am I telling you that you should only have your door opened to the immediate level below you? I would disagree with that. I think there are times where you got to hit that floor and talk to your people and see what's going on and give them kind of like that forum. Again, it's not every day, but I think you have to be out there. And that's just kind of check up to make sure everything's good. People are doing what they're supposed to do. But again, still encouraging the chain of command. You still are encouraging the chain of command, because if there are concerns that someone's totally jumping above you, I think it's only fair to say, hey, listen, did you give this person a chance to address it? And if you didn't give this person a chance to address it, that's unfair. So now you're coming to me with a concern, saying you have all these problems, but you never even brought that concern up to your immediate supervisor. So I think at that point, that supervisor, the head guy, the main manager, should go ahead and defer that back. Say, do me a favor, tell your immediate supervisor, and let's see if they can handle it at that level. But don't just jump 6 levels up. Don't just go straight above. That's what that's for. That's why I believe there should be that chain of command. So again, we're doing these videos, and we got some videos that talk about the importance of chain of command, and then you get some videos that talk about how management needs to have more of an open door policy. So again, I just think maybe what we're talking about here is the level of where that door needs to be open. So again, if you're a first level employee, then you would expect your second level employees to have their door open for the first level, third for the second, fourth for the third, fifth for the fourth, sixth for the fifth, whatever the case may be. But again, it's just not that much of it's a very hard question to answer, because even as I went around and was asking people, the concern is, does the open door policy undermine chain of command? And I don't think it does if it's about open door at that immediate level of supervision for you. I don't think it does violate that chain of command. And I also think we encourage that with the inmates as well, correct? Because even with the inmates, we're forced to kind of have sort of an open door policy, sort of, where if they have a right, if they feel something's not addressed by their officer, they can ask to see a supervisor. But again, they're not jumping 3 levels up or 4 levels up. They're talking to the officer first, and then at most they go to 1 more level if need be, if the officer needs to defer it. Because I remember being trained in the academy, if an inmate asks for a supervisor, depending on what that issue is, obviously there's discretion here, but you have to get that supervisor. But again, it's your immediate supervisor. So even with inmates, you're forcing that chain of command with the officer first. So if I was a sergeant and the inmate requested to see me, and I went back and listened to what the inmate had to say, and I say, hey, listen, did you go to your officer with that? No, go to him first. You can kind of direct that back depending on what it is. Again, that's where discretion comes in and experience. But again, just to kind of give a rough, again, this was real. I don't really have an answer. I just have a perspective, and I think this is something that we can encourage communication with. But does chain of command and open door policy conflict with each other? I think it depends. I think if we're looking to see those higher up, those administrative people have open door policy for the front line every time they need something, then yeah, I think that would violate chain of command. I think there are times where management can walk around, higher level management can walk around, and at that point you get the forum, and then it's up to upper management to say what they can defer back. Hey, did you tell your immediate supervisor? Okay, well, you need to tell them. But I think for immediate supervisors, so if you're my immediate supervisor, then yes, you should have an open door, because that is your next level of command. So I think if it doesn't violate the chain of command, open door policy, if it's your next level of management. I think if it's your next level up, your next level of supervision, then it does not violate chain of command. It does not violate chain of command. And I'm okay with that, But again, guys, comment. I'm curious about your thoughts on this. I think it was a great question, a very unique topic, if I must say. But, I think I'm comfortable with my answer, a bit of a perspective. But I'd love to get your thoughts. Again, the show's Tier Talk. It's for our brave men and women who work behind that wall in the criminal justice system. Love to get that perspective. Guys, if you notice too, I'm also getting people from the other side joining the channel and also engaging in very constructive dialogue, very professional, good dialogue. So we're getting a chance to really get a good understanding of what it is that we do and really getting some good questions answered. And who's discussing this right now? But why not? Why not? As always, the show is Tier Talk, guys. If you haven't subscribed, interact, engage, and hit that bell. That bell's going to notify you every time I post up a video. As always, take care and be safe.